People are concerned after many people are asking Netflix to cancel the BTS documentary. We have Suga talking about general backlash with BTS, and then we have people saying really horrendous things towards V, and we need to get into all of this. So hey dumplings, and stay up to side, let's get into it. Right now, there's a group of people online that have dedicated their time and their life to essentially insult V in crazy ways. I feel weird saying this because in general, what people are saying should not be an insult, but how they're saying it is an insult. Like for example, for me personally, I don't believe gay should be an insult and should be used in a derogatory way to insult someone. But you should be able to recognize what times someone is using it as an insult and what times they're using it casually. And in this situation I'm about to talk about, the derogatory word is not being used casually. There are some people who have essentially talked about V and his behavior at specific events. One event that was referenced was the W Korea event, in which we see V dancing alongside some of his friends. One of them happens to be a woman. Now, God forbid he has a woman as a friend. People got really upset. So the hate that we are seeing is coming from multiple sources. There are people who are probably upset that he is dancing with a woman because it distorts their version of who he should be dating, whether that's them having a fantasy of they themselves dating V, or it's V is supposed to date JK type of thing. People often mask the true reason as to why they're upset by just throwing insults or leaving the community. In this case, V dancing with a woman has sparked a lot of hate towards him, with some people saying that he must have been diagnosed with HIV because he's sleeping with everybody, or whatever it is. The whole idea that HIV is contracted due to sexual frequency is a misconception. There are so many ways that it can spread outside of sleeping with someone, such as just touching blood and that sort of stuff. It can also be transmitted from parent to child through things like childbirth as well as breastfeeding. So as we can tell from all of this, obviously the person who has HIV does not even need to be someone who's sexually active. And then obviously it goes without saying here that we do not know V and his sexual history, nor do we know his medical history. So it is not good to make assumptions like that. But on top of that, the way these comments are phrasing things makes it seem like a disease is something that is so scary and it's worth it to not be friends or not like someone because of that disease. And if V had a sexual disease, it would warrant him not having a fan base anymore. Everyone should just leave him. Like, it's so harmful to say these things genuinely, and I don't understand why they think this. It's interesting, right? Because if you come from it at an angle of, let's say you're not a fan of V, you can still tell this person and say, hey, please don't perpetuate this stereotype. They'll just assume that you're a mega fan of V, and that is the reason why you're saying this, instead of realizing that maybe you don't care about the specific person they're insulting, but you're just trying to get them to stop perpetuating a stereotype. I've had these arguments with other people on other platforms where I'm like, I'm not a fan of the artist you're talking about. I couldn't care less what your opinion is about that artist, but could you just not use, let's say, the R word? Or could you not say any specific derogatory terms? Could you just not perpetuate a huge disgusting stereotype? And that always gets the person to instead realize that they're saying something harmful and should stop using insults, but then they feel like I'm just actually a fan or a big fan of the artist, which is why I'm even bringing this up. So it ends up going back and circle over and over again. It's just so frustrating. Suga has talked about the general backlash that the boys get. This conversation came about as JK recently held a semi-drunk live stream where he was extremely candid about himself. He talked about his smoking habits and how he has quit now. He tried to be really honest with the community by saying that he hopes that by expressing some of these things that he's done, it would not result in this whole debate online where people pick apart things and attack him for it. So he was just really trusting the community on that. He expressed various different things like this by being as honest as he possibly could and mentioned that he hopes he's allowed to be that and he won't get in trouble by the label. The livestream has since then been deleted, and so many people believe that he did get in trouble with the label. Of course, a slap on the wrist or a general conversation, or even if it's just a deleted text, is not the same as getting in a lot of trouble, so clearly he wasn't in that much trouble. But the community as a whole was saying that he definitely should not have done that because they were saying that a K-pop idol's job is to look professional and put together. People did not like the fact that he was drunk on a live stream and sharing all these things about himself. However, this is the main reason why most people like BTS, because they don't do what other K-pop idols might do, and they do share their own lives and stuff like that. It makes us feel closer to them, and it makes us feel like they're not super perfect, right? They have flaws and vices like we do. But of course, the majority of the community, and I do believe the majority of the community, can support and love the fact that JK shared these things with us. They're of course going to be the people who think it's inappropriate, but a lot of that stems from, I believe, this idea that since they spend a lot of time defending BTS, they don't like the fact that BTS or any of the members is giving more ammunition to the haters to later mock JK or any of the other members. Now, this is when people brought Suga into the conversation. He mentioned a little while ago that he felt it was unfair fair for K-pop idols to get a lot of criticism and critique for some of the smallest things that they've done. And people connected that to what's happening now, where obviously nothing illegal is happening. JK talking about smoking, and even just smoking itself is not exactly an illegal thing, and so many K-pop idols do it. I wouldn't even say many K-pop idols do it in secret. I would genuinely say they openly do it. But this had led to a lot of debate as to whether or not it was okay to bring Suga into the conversation, and a lot of that came from people just maybe who are Suga fans that don't want him being brought into the conversation. Because if someone is going to bring down JK, they shouldn't bring down someone else as well. Now this is turning into something that I hoped it never would, which was the fact that since the boys had decided to do solo work, that the community decides to divide themselves up. The boys are one, they are a collective, they support each other. If one of the members goes down and does something, they all take hits for it, and it's always been like that. And we support them as equal. If you hate any of the members for any specific reason, then leave the community immediately because they all love each other so much. I say one member's response is perfectly acceptable as a justification for another member's actions, if they want to have justification, right? There has been a general conversation about the new Netflix documentary. This is a documentary film that is going to be about BTS, and it's going to be released very soon, and they have sort of been teasing this documentary on social media for a little bit. There's been a general concern, let's say from the community, that the people who are posting about the documentary are sort of posting it insincerely, maybe even reluctantly. There was a Netflix account that was not from the US that posted a documentary and how it was supposed to be coming soon. Now apparently they didn't write BTS correctly and maybe wrote it in lowercase in their bio, I don't know, but they went ahead and fixed it, and a lot of people clapped back at them to say that it was insincere and that they probably don't care about BTS. In my opinion, if you go to the page or the Netflix account, you'll very quickly realize that this person who was posting all of this stuff probably wasn't a BTS fan. Like, they were just saying things like, are we now part of the BTS community after posting the documentary and that sort of stuff. So it was clear that they weren't in the community yet, or at least that was clear in my opinion. So that could mean several different things. That could mean that they didn't really know about the voice prior to this, or they just didn't really have a reason to care. This is where I have a lot to say, because a lot of people believe that if a streaming platform is hosting any type of content on their platform, that the streaming platform themselves has to be a huge fan of that content. This is simply not the reality. That's like saying on YouTube, every single video, everything that gets posted on YouTube, the CEO has to be a fan of. And quite obviously, there is stuff that shouldn't be on the platform that gets posted every day. And so, no one has to be a fan of every single thing that's on a platform. And I don't think the people on Twitter, these children, essentially realize that when they're tweeting someone and they're saying something like, oh, you're not a real fan, you're just pretending, that they're tweeting like a social media manager, someone who's probably in their 40s, who's sitting there responding to tweets like, it's their job, right? And they clock in to do this. They don't care about the fandoms or the community. They probably have a family, and they probably have very little time outside of their job to actually sit there and research what the celebrity that they're talking about is doing, right? They're just doing their job, they make a check, they go home, and at the end of the day, they feed their family, right? They honestly couldn't care less about what celebrities on a platform. And they don't do this on the spare time. This isn't something that they're doing for fun, Googling celebrities. Them engaging with the community and tweeting things is part of their job as well, because they have to make a tweet go viral to promote the show or the movie. But their goal isn't to be a big fan and serve the community buy all the albums and just be an enormous part of the community. Once that show is over and the promo for it is over, they're probably going to talk about something else. And that's just their job. It's not about them being insincere, they're just doing their job. I don't know how else to explain this to people where it can make some sense, but it's like working at an amusement park where maybe you yourself don't like roller coasters. And it's like saying, well, now you can't work there because you hate roller coasters. And it's like, no, it's still a job and you're going to do it and you're going to act enthusiastic when people ask you about it when you're on the clock. But that apparently is a hard concept for some people to understand. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.